Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
What I found was in one of the most obscure and ancient of the texts, a book called the Sefer Yetzirah.
What is that?
It is a Hebrew text that has only been translated a couple of times into English. It's so mysterious, George, that very few scholars even want to talk about it because they don't know what to say about it. The bottom line to what the text is saying is that through language, humankind was created. They talked about the power of the letters of very specific alphabets. When I followed the instructions in a 3,000-year-old text and I applied it to the periodic table, this is what we have. God, eternal within the body. And God that is depicted in the DNA is actually spelled the way that the name of God was spelled in the ancient text before it was removed.
I think this is such a cool idea, but on its face, it makes no sense. They certainly had more thought put into the languages in the old days. But I just don't see how it's possible that the whole world was spoken into existence unless he's saying that God did it. This theory would require that someone existed already and then spoke everything else into existence. If that's the case, who spoke that person into existence, if that's the way it all works? Again, fun idea, but I can't get behind it unless he's saying that the word of God spoke everything into existence. Unfortunately, I feel like this clip should have just been a little bit longer.
What's good, Enigmites? Have you ever heard the theory that they have to tell you what they're going to do to us before they do it? Check this out.
In the world of tomorrow, weather control will enrich and safeguard our daily lives. In the foreseeable future, we will conquer more than violent storms. We will turn the destructive elements of today into new sources of power, shaping the land on which we live.
Watch that clip again and pay attention to the opening frame. In the background, they're actually steering a hurricane. And that's a clip from the 1959 Disney World Land of Tomorrow exhibit. And if you know anything about who Walt Disney really was and how important the number 33 was to him, makes perfect sense. Either way, get in the comments. I want to know what you think about it.
Not only does that still shot look like an image of them steering a hurricane, but it lines up almost perfectly with the way that Hurricane Helene traveled. It was moving west and then suddenly shot up north through those mountains, just like the hurricane on the radar screen in this clip. That's a little on the nose, isn't it? Can someone tell me again why they supposedly have to put this stuff in front of us before they do it? I've heard the explanation before, but I'm drawing a blank on it at the moment. Seems like a big part of why they do it is just to brag openly about their misdeeds.
This is so wild. So this man called Cliff High developed a software program over 20 years ago that scanned the entire internet and analyzed thematic patterns and language that people were using all over the world to predict the future. Cliff High believed in our individual subconscious intuition, but he also believed in our interconnected consciousness that we all draw from whether we're aware of it or not. So using a technique that he called predictive linguistics, he wrote a program that was able to analyze all the keywords and phrases and thematic patterns and assigned them an emotional value. It then uses a formula to gauge our emotional tensions and write a report on events that will happen in the future. Now, these predictions all came with a precondition that Cliff called temporal markers. And that's kind of like a precursor event, like a trigger event that has to happen before the prediction will come true. So the prediction will not happen until or unless the temporal marker or the trigger event happens first. So what did this program predict? Way back in 2009, this is crazy, honestly. The software program reported of a battle in our skies that got chaotic and out of hand between military jets and UFOs, and also, interestingly, UFOs against other UFOs. And this would mark the beginning of an era where non-human intelligence became a part of our everyday reality. And this was all to take place roughly 39 days after the trigger event happened, so after that temporal marker event. And that temporal marker event was Donald Trump being interviewed by Joe Rogan, which just happened the other day and is already the biggest podcast of all time. But let me explain why this is so wild. In 2009, when this prediction was made, Joe Rogan was far from being a household name like he is today. His podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, had its very first episode in December 2009. And back then, it was literally just Joe and a couple of his mates on their webcams in their lounge room. He had hosted Fear Factor, and he was the commentator for the UFC back then, but even then, the UFC was way smaller than what it is today. And Donald Trump being the president was not even in the conversation. In 2009, he was just a real estate mogul and the guy from The Apprentice. This kind of prediction back then was so far out of left field that it was hardly given any further thought by Cliff himself. And now, in 2024, President Donald Trump has just been on the Joe Rogan Experience, the biggest podcast in the world. And at the same time, we have so many military whistleblowers, Harvard lawyers, Stanford scientists, all coming out and saying UFOs and non-human intelligence are very real, and that we, the public, need to be made aware of this before it's potentially catastrophically forced upon us. The world is so crazy right now.
That's crazy. To think that this prediction was made before Trump even ran for president and before Rogan even had his podcast in the spotlight. And I can't help but think about the hearings going on November 13th. How many days past that will we be at the 29-day marker past that podcast interview? Maybe we'll get some more information at the Immaculate Constellation hearings. Maybe the information that's going to come out at the Immaculate Constellation hearings is what brings these things out of hiding. Who knows? But again, I wouldn't get my hopes up. We're likely just going to get a lot more lies and misdirection. Nothing more, nothing less. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back to join me. Also, don't forget to check out my merch store at www.barry-stepp.com.
So there's that Star of Jacob that's popping up.
So scary,
They're
dude.
saying that this Star of Jacob is the same star that came about when Jesus was born, and that's the star that the wise men followed.
That's super dope.
So apparently this star appears every 2,000 years, and there's people saying that with this Star of Jacob appearing, that Jesus's return is inevitable.
Wow.
And one dude said that if it is the Star of Jacob, wouldn't it make sense that no one knew necessarily about Christ except for the three wise men, the shepherds, and Joseph and Mary? But it took 30 years for him to be known to the world. So could it be another 30 years before Jesus makes his appearance?
Try 3 years, 2027.
You give me 3 years. I'm fine with that.
This one doesn't make any sense to me. From my understanding, we aren't supposed to know the date of the return of Christ, and so this can't be true. Not to mention, Christ's return is depicted as a singular moment in time where all people would be made known of his presence. Him showing up but not making himself known for 30 years doesn't sound like any prophecies I've heard.
Dr. Rebecca Marina, she studied her own red blood cells. They studied and photographed her blood cells under different physical and emotional states. And this is what they found. This is crazy. When she was sad, her blood cells moved quickly and they became tear-shaped.
What?
When she was sad.
What?
Blood cells were in the shape of perfect tears. When her emotions reflected great love, the shape and formation and the speed became normal. And no joke, her blood cells began to like sparkle.
What?
Like with these little flints of light that weren't present before. These little glints of light. When she was anxious, her blood cells clumped together and they started moving all quickly.
Tension.
Yes. Yeah.
Tension. Yeah.
Which was identical to when they studied her blood cells when she was sick.
Wow.
This is the last experiment that they did, which is the most mind-blowing.
It gets weirder?
Yes. They were like shook by these results already. They're like, wow, this is crazy. It's time to bring in our colleagues to look at this. They grouped her blood cells into like 4 or 5 different groups. The colleagues came in and they picked, I believe, 2 of the groups of blood cells, and the colleagues prayed over the blood cells.
Wow.
They prayed extensively for like an hour over these blood cells. Everyone there was stunned because the blood fluid that was prayed over not only shined,
what?
Like bright, not just the little glints of light from before, but like it was like glowing.
But hold on. But we are talking about at a level that's so far beneath the detection of the human eye, right?
Oh, 100%.
We're talking about like microscope.
It's a dark field.
Okay.
It's called a dark field microscope. It completely blacks out everything behind it so that you could see things like this light and things like that. Mm-hmm. This is insane. The blood cells separate from her body that were being prayed over, the light and the motion were pulsating at the same rate of her resting heart rate.
What?
her blood cells. Her blood cells on a plate, separate from her body, that have been separated for hours.
They're entangled.
They are. They're still connected.
Wow.
And the cells that were not prayed over weren't even moving.
I just thought this was fascinating. So this may go back to the first clip of the day where they were talking about the importance of language. I wonder if the spoken words in the prayer are what's causing this effect. If language can supposedly be used to speak things into existence, then certainly it can be used to alter those things that are already in existence. It would only stand to reason that that would be the case. So is this just an example of the power of language? Or are we seeing the effects of prayer being played out on blood cells? I'm not convinced of either personally, but I would love to know your opinions.
This is one of the most bizarre facts about our universe, so pardon me while I break your brain for a second.
Can you explain quantum entanglement communications?
Yes, I don't think most people understand what I'm about to say anyway, but I will. The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously, in no time, switch its rotation also because they're quantum entangled.
Don't worry, we'll explain it a little more. But if you've seen this or read the book Three-Body Problem, it probably sounds familiar. And if you haven't, I'll give you the 10,000 level overview. There is an alien species whose home planet is not inhabitable, so they want to come to Earth to take over. The issue is that is going to take a significant amount of time, and right now they are technologically superior to Earth, but the way that our technology is advancing at a parabolic state, we, when they reach us, will be more advanced than them and will be able to fight them off. But because they have the technology of being able to utilize quantum entanglement, they created these sophons, sent one to Earth, where they can manipulate it on their home planet, and it will do the same manipulations on Earth because it happens instantaneously. And their whole goal is to mess with the science system and everything that's going on in Earth so that there's chaos that is created so that we do not progress past their level of advancement. Obviously, this is a made-up scenario, but this illustrates quantum entanglement. Now, what you need to understand is we know quantum entanglement exists. We have proven it through experiments, and it causes a lot of issues for people's theorems like this guy's. Because the way that we think about space and time, this should not be able to happen, but it does. Here's some of the experiments if you guys want to check them out. You can pause if you want to see a screenshot. Why does it happen? Well, here's one potential explanation.
Bohm explains it in a different way, which is a very interesting way. And he says, if you imagine that you've got an aquarium in which you have a fish swimming, you have a TV camera facing the front of the aquarium, one facing the side of the aquarium, and you have a monitor attached to each camera. Now, you also imagine further that you come from a culture that's never seen aquariums, never seen fish, never seen monitors and cameras. All you are privy to is the two images on these screens. He says that maybe, if you look at these two screens, you're going to see a side view of a fish and a frontal view of a fish. And because you don't know what the deeper reality is, the reality of the aquarium, you may assume that these are two separate things. But two different fish, two different objects. But every time one fish moves, the other is going to make a corresponding movement. And you may then jump to the conclusion that somehow the one fish is signaling the other, or communicating the other to say, hey, do this, instantaneously. And Bohm says this is what we've done with subatomic particles, that we assume that an instantaneous communication is going on, when that's not really what's going on at all. At a deeper level, a very holographic level of reality, every particle in the universe collapses to a sort of cosmic unity. They're not signaling each other. They're like that fish where there's the level of the aquarium.
So here's my question to you. Is quantum entanglement evidence that there can be instantaneous communication? Or our dimension is dictated by length, width, height, and time? Is it possible that these things are actually connected at a higher dimension, so we perceive them as two different things when really it's all connected? Is this just evidence of simulation theory and that we live in a holographic universe?
I'll tell you what this makes me think about is the idea that we're living in a projected reality. Maybe we're seeing the reflection or projection of an object twice, but it's the same object being projected in different points in space. And that's why they have the ability to seemingly move from one object to another without the passing of time. They are the same object. But if we can move that projected object, causing it to move in another location, how are we interacting with a projection or hologram hologram if it's not physically there? This one is a mind bender, and the way that I just explained my thought process on it probably was just more confusing, and I apologize for that. But that clip was a great breakdown of the three-body problem and the idea of quantum entanglement.
Quite a few people have been talking about this recently, but many of us may have been experimented on at a young age without ever knowing. This was around the early 2000s, where many people specifically remember being a part of a program called GATE, which stands for Gifted and Talented Education. And according to people who were a part of this program, they were separated from their main class, taken to a windowless or dim-lit room, and made to do different tasks like solving puzzles and hearing different frequencies through headphones. Now, there's a couple reasons why people are suspicious of this program in the first place. For starters, although the class was meant to be for students who were above average academically, most of the people who were actually in the program recall only having average grades compared to some of their peers who were not involved in the program. On top of that, while much of the curriculum was just normal puzzles, many people recall being asked to do seemingly impossible tasks like guessing numbers, shapes, or objects that were covered up or just out of view. This led to a lot of speculation about the classes, with many people believing that the program was created by a government agency in order to find children with supernatural-like abilities. Some people went even further, stating that they may have been looking for people with supernatural abilities in order to shut them down to prevent future threats, or that they were trying to recruit them, do more tests on them, and see how they can use that power for themselves.
I certainly don't think they were trying to stop some superhuman kid from becoming too powerful. That's just a Hollywood screenplay idea. But the idea that they may have been looking for someone to take advantage of, someone with a special ability maybe, that they could use for their own benefit, that sounds like the opening paragraph to every secret government project that we find out about after the fact. I feel like I remember some sort of gifted program like this whenever I was a kid. I wasn't a part of it, but I feel like I remember them pulling kids out of class to do weird tests and stuff. I feel like I remember kids complaining about how stupid it was. It could be completely unrelated and not even in regards to the same thing, but I do remember that, so just thought that was interesting. Now, before we go on to this next clip, I just want to say, it's a long one, but it's a good one. Someone posted a more long-form video of the short, famous Kevin Hart Diddy Party clip, and I had to throw it in here.
My hair's on fire!
Oh! Did the camera catch that? Got the camera!
Yo!
Sit on the bed at night, no homo, no, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man.
Are you saying don't get close to the bed?
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to.
What'd he do?
First and foremost, I'm not giving the bed. Shout out to him.
Oh, so he already know.
If we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even, I don't want it to come close to the bed at all.
This is getting weird.
I should look like he fresh off the plane. I should. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And I'm what the did Puff just say?
Right, what is he even talking about?
Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes.
Right, what the hell are we talking about?
That was stupid. Listen.
How old was he?
He's having a good time. Yo, Usher made it in the... Hey, yo.
Trey Songz?
At the end of the day, I killed, man.
Kev, is that LeBron?
At the end of the day, I killed. Right, know me, man. Listen, in the streets, did it this weekend. F5. I don't even feel comfortable with you in my bed. Hold on. Can you go get some girls? Can you get me in the bedroom with some girls? Let's get some girls.
Yo, Diddy, calm down, bro.
Introduction. Go get some girls. Go get some. Matter of fact, while the girls come, hey yo, check this out. No homo. Come here, man. Hey yo, Kevin, come here. No homo. We're gonna have a contest. You know, we're going to have a contest. We're going to get our breath first because your breath is stinking sometimes.
Diddy literally indicating sleeping with them. Imagine what's going on when the camera cut off.
And we're going to go back and forth. You know, first of all, make sure my mic is on. Before I get into trashing Diddy, you know, I'm going to acknowledge him on a special day. I bought the album. You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask you for nothing. No, you didn't. I didn't ask you for nothing free. Yes. I downloaded it. I didn't go to the store because I'm lazy. I thought you said you bought it. You ain't say you downloaded it. Get your story right. You downloaded it. You lying. You lying. You're lying. He's lying. You didn't even buy it yet. Listen. Listen. Yo, come in here, man. I'm not. Yo. Listen.
Yo, what he got in the bathroom?
No homo. We're gonna get some ladies in here though, but we're gonna make sure our breakfast fresh.
No, say pause. Say pause.
Pause.
Don't acknowledge this. Nothing to do with me, Puff, right now.
Hold on, let's get some ladies in here. There's nothing that just bypass all that.
Put the kid past. No, I'll go first.
No.
It's a movement. I'll definitely go and take a swig of Listerine.
And for real, you the comedian, so go light on me. Tonight's my night. Don't kill me.
No, I'm definitely gonna kill you.
He said, "Go light on me tonight." What we? What?
It's your day. You know, you got a lot
Kevin.
Yeah, I want to say I'm sorry.
No, dude, listen.
Okay, security. Please help me out for a second.
Okay, listen. First of all, if you don't get this failed UFC fighter out of here, no, dude, I'm just kidding. It's all jokes, man. No, don't say.
He said, "Failed UFC fighter."
Listen, I thought he really had a taser. Let's go in and let's win.
Hey, yo, check it out. We getting so much money out here. I don't really feel secure. So, no homo. I'm taking big white people with me everywhere. Big white people with guns is coming with me everywhere. I'm just telling you now. I'm not going nowhere.
What?
Security.
Diddy is not hiding in no more.
Hey, yo, we getting the party started.
He ain't hiding
Yo,
it no
tell them
more.
what it's gonna be like. I gotta talk to Cap.
Go talk to him right now. Listen. Go. Just walk by real quick. Can you bring my drink, please? Something around here, but beautiful beverages, as you can see. Hope low, so it is, sweetie. Hey, I'm gonna take it. Okay. No, Listerine is definitely not good. It's gonna take a second to be good. Bottom line,
Okay.
I'm in the nigga house, okay? So I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna show y'all the unexclusive. See, it's shit in here that he don't want y'all to see. I'm gonna find it. That's what I do. That's what happens when you put a comedian in the room. But right now, look, I'm gonna give y'all a second, tour around, figure out what's going on, enjoy the house the same way I am. I'm gonna go drink this.
It looked like a normal party to me.
Cheers.
It ain't crazy.
No, not yet. You messing up. That's your problem. I got a nice, go get a drink down.
He sure is saying no homo a lot for someone who's saying a lot of homosexual things. You be you, I guess. But if you're under constant allegations for sexual deviancy with other male celebrities, you may want to find something else to joke about. And was it just me, or did it look like Kevin Hart really wanted to be somewhere else? He looked like a deer in headlights trying to figure out how to save the moment every time Diddy opened his mouth. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending him. He looked a little too comfortable there, in my opinion. Like he knows what the routine is at a Diddy party. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat or a hoodie. And don't forget to post your photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.